Great, great. Oh, I see Aditya here. So let's start. Hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We have how to solve McKinsey market sizing case today. I hope it's going to be very useful and interesting for all of you guys because we are excited. Hope you too. Today we have thanks Andre. Yeah, I need a little bit of screen here. Yeah. Um, yeah. Today's agenda is going to be basically this case. We will have first quick introduction, then we will have this market size case simulation. It will be very interesting. You're free to raise your hands. You're free to ask some questions. Yeah, we want to make it really interactional. So then we will have feedback from Andre, and next steps and Q&A session at the end. I will be the one who will moderate this webinar and the one who will lead this Q&A session, I hope. So yeah, my name is Anton Belikov. I'm client manager at Consulting Masters and your moderator for today. If you have any questions, me or to chat, please feel free to use this chat below. You can write a direct messages for me, to me, or to anyone in this group. So yeah, feel free. All right. A little bit about Consulting Masters. We are already like 3 years on the market. We help a lot of mentees to get job offers in top consulting companies, such as like Lloyd, KPMG, Ernst and Young. But you know all of them. I'm not gonna stop here because you guys know what the market is if you came here.
Actually, guys, I have a question to you.
Yeah.
2 days ago, one of our mentees has received two offers, one from Deloitte and one from BCG in one of its German offices. So my question to you guys is, which company is he going to reject? Can you just write it into the comments?
We wanted to make it different way, frankly speaking. We wanted to tell you that indifferent. Okay, Aditya says BCG and Ernst and Young. Victor says strategy and all right. There are like two options basically, Deloitte and BCG. Which one he preferred?
Or which one would he reject?
Yeah, this is a better question.
By the way, guys, are you subscribed to our social media? Do you follow us? Are you coming from LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube? And if you are watching this translation on YouTube, feel free also to put a like, comment, or share. Just if not yet done, feel free to follow us in those networks. And maybe you could also write quickly in the chat, how did you come to know about us, so that we also receive some feedback.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we want to make it that way, like he got two offers and he rejected, basically he denied one offer from Deloitte. Which company do you think he preferred? Yeah, that should be the question. But yeah, he chose BCG, and we can congratulate 595th mentee who got a job offer from our team. So yeah, some few questions for you guys. Despite we know some of you already, we spoke with some of you before this webinar started, but still, can you please write in the chat where you from, where you calling from? Couple of words, country and city. I'll start. I'm from Lisbon. Egypt. We have Mustafa from the Egypt. Great. Indonesia, Prakoso. Toronto. Nice.
Respect.
We covered 4 continents already.
Respect to Prakoso for joining our webinar. It should be very early morning, probably, at your site. Yeah.
We have Aditya from India. Hi, Aditya. Albania, Barcelona. Andre, we covered 5 continents, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Givi is wondering about Roland Berger. You will have the answer to this question later.
I mean, I'm from Roland Berger. What would you like to know, Givi? I used to work there. Feel free to put your questions into the chat or let's talk in the Q&A. But first, show me your market sizing cracking skills.
All right.
Before we talk. Yeah,
Yep.
Isabel Tomova is from Bulgaria and calling from Barcelona, Spain. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we have Europe, we have America, we have Indonesia, we have Asia and Africa, yeah, all continents basically, major continents here. And why did you decide to attend this webinar, guys? In a few words, what was so exciting about this? How to solve McKinsey market size naming? Interview with strategy and tomorrow. Oh, Victor. Givi, you really try to attend all our webinars, and thank you very much for this dedication. Yeah, from your side. Lovely. Thanks. Yeah.
Our loyal follower is following us from one webinar to the other. All right, guys, what would you like to learn about consulting today? Maximilian is starting to prepare for the job interviews. Good. Do you have any specific questions which you would like to clarify today?
Oh, Puneet already messed up the market sizing question in the interview. Yeah.
You're happen.
Right.
Even to the best
happens.
of them.
Yeah. If you join our webinars like frequently, like Givi you, I think you will be more self-confident here.
Can I answer your question by talking, not typing in the text?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, currently I'm doing an MBA at University of Georgia at USA, and I'm concentrating in strategy and consulting, but I've been trying to get a job offer for so long, but I always get rejections, and I don't know what's like the problem. I have a good CV that was revised by the Career Center at the university, but like I don't know what's the problem. I never get past the CV phase.
Feel free to send your CV to our team. Just send an email to customer.service@consulting-masters.com. Anton will talk about this option at the end of the call. So send us your CV and apply for a strategy call. Yeah, we'll review that and then have a discussion with you. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. So, Anton, warm it up.
Yeah, perfect. Let me say a few words about Andre. Yeah. For those who never met Andre before, I just want to tell you that he used to work in Roland Berger for he's been working there for like 6 years. Had more than 30 projects. One of these projects was Olympic Games. Can you imagine? So it's like 30 projects with 30 years. Multiply Olympic Games by 30, and you will have a right impression of his experience. So during all this period, all this 6 years, he was part of the recruiting team, and he interviewed more than 115 candidates. So basically, you're having a coach who was from that side of the business. He was the one who was interviewing people. And this is his expertise in this field. So yeah, he used to work in Munich, Kiev, Dubai office, and I think Andre, you traveled a lot. Not only these 3 cities, right? If your job obligates you.
Yeah, in fact, out of 3 years that I used to work out from Munich office of Roland Berger, I just had one single project in Germany. Everything else was completely abroad, from France to Russia, from I don't know, from Poland to Dubai, whatsoever. Yeah, was very interesting stuff. All right, guys, but now let's talk about you. So today I have a special gift for you. I am giving a free coaching session together with you. And I need a volunteer, or better, volunteers, to crack a real life McKinsey case together with me. The thing is that last summer, this summer, one of our mentees who went to McKinsey told me what was his case in the very first interview round in one of the offices with McKinsey. And I want to present to you this case. So any volunteers, anyone who would like to crack the cases with me, could you please all guys turn on your cameras, turn on your microphones, and hands up, basically, for those who would like to participate and solve the case together with me. Let's do that together. So I see you need to raise the hand. Yeah, anyone else? Don't be shy. We are here to help you to crack those cases, even if you are not that experienced. Oh, Anton, you also want to
well
crack the case. You raised the hand.
I'm surprised that Givi hasn't raised his hand yet.
Yeah, so
we have iPhone raised hand here.
But guys, please, especially the iPhone, also tell me your names and turn on your cameras and microphones, because I need to communicate with you. Who is Mr. iPhone? Punit?
Please, Miss.
Yeah, and unmute yourself also.
Yeah, hi Andre. Pleasure to meet you. I am actually just with a few people in the room, so I'm afraid it would be a little weird to on my camera. But yeah, I would be up for solving the case. Not extremely experienced, but I do have a little bit of experience, I'd say. So I would say, yeah, I'm like midway there.
Yeah. Guys, do you want to receive, especially you, Punit, who volunteered, and you, Mr. iPhone, who volunteered, do you want to receive the feedback afterwards? If yes, you need to have your cameras on. Otherwise, I cannot give you, normal feedback. So doesn't matter what happens in the background. But if you could turn on your cameras, it will ease the communication and be more helpful for everyone.
Okay, let me just set up my position so that you don't see the others, and then I'll do that.
All right. While people are arranging, basically, what I was thinking, let's do the case. Are you ready to start, guys? Just say yes or put plus in the comment. All right, I have the following question for you. How would you estimate Apple revenues from all iPhone sales in the Q4 2022, this year, in a particular country? And since we have World Cup right now, I was thinking, why not to take Qatar? No one knows about this country anything that much before this session. So yeah, how would you go about this case? let's take Qatar as an example. And now we have Q4, or basically fourth quarter, last quarter of the year. And can you please help me to guesstimate what is the Apple's revenues from all iPhones that they sell in, starting from October, November, December this year, in the last quarter of this year? How would you estimate this? Punit, could you please maybe recap the case question?
Yeah, so basically the problem at hand today is that we need to calculate the revenues coming from iPhone sales in Qatar in this quarter. So in the months where the FIFA World Cup is happening. And yeah, seems quite an interesting question, and a little bit of complexity there with the people coming inside as visitors, and what amount of these people would be willing to buy an iPhone in that duration when they are visiting as tourists. So yeah, seems quite interesting.
Sounds good. But if I was a real interviewer, which clarifying questions would you ask me? Imagine that is just real. So I could be Tim Schmidt from McKinsey. I could be an engagement manager at, I don't know, Doha office, let's say, of McKinsey.
Okay, well, the first thing that I'd like to ask is the population of Qatar, for just seeing what would be the sales that people within Qatar would buy. And then we'll move on to the the other thing. So can
the
I
population
know the
is
population of
about
Qatar?
3 million people, residents.
Okay. Okay. Great. So we know the population, and do we know the amount of visitors that are coming there during these months of
Qatar
World Cup?
is expecting to have about 1.5 million visitors.
Oh, well, 50% of the population, quite interesting. Okay, so then we have the visitors, and then we have the population. So for population, what I would deal all these two segments differently. So first, within Qatar, with the population, what I'd like to do it, I would segment them into affordability. So people who can afford an iPhone in Qatar. So I would say it would be after affordability, then people who really need the phone to buy a phone, then the replacement rate of iPhone, which I would assume to be about 5 years, and followed by the price of an iPhone. So I think that's how I can deal with the population of Qatar which are living there. And for the other segment, which is the tourists coming there, so 1.5 million are tourists coming there. Out of these people, how many people would be willing to buy the phone? Because I would assume these tourists would already be able to afford them, because they are already coming to another country to watch the World Cup. So, and out of this, I would say probably people who have lost their phone in the World Cup also might be included there. And then just factoring in the price and calculating it for these tourists as well. And then I would add both.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Puneet. Very interesting and very good structure. Miss iPhone, just turn on your camera.
Hi.
And briefly introduce yourself and what is your way of thinking? What are your clarifying questions?
Okay. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes. What's your name?
My name My name is Nayada. Sorry because I have seen the mail in last moment. Immediately I was in the meeting, so my name is not there, but my name is Nayada, and recently I have seen you and attended in LinkedIn, and I had a short discussion with your colleague. So recently I'm interested about your workshops, and are very interesting. Related to your question, I would say that important is the population. You said around 3 million, but I will make a segmentation beginning to the ages that are allowed, let's say, to use iPhone, that maybe beginning from 9-10 years. So okay, including either children that it's not good, but it's happening. So as part of the business, we have to include
Tiara, let's not talk too much. What
yes,
clarifying questions do you
and
have?
the most important let's say question I would do to you is what is the GDP of this country, and what part of the GDP are imports related to technology, because I think Apple or iPhones will be part of imports in that country. I'm not sure if they have the possibility to do their own ones, but I don't think so. To see which are the imports of technology and which of these is the percentage that is iPhone in this category, and then which is the percentage of revenues that comes from technology and from this segmentation, let's say in this country, and then to calculate recently, especially this month, the ins and outs of the tourists that, let's say, are plus in this kind of calculation. That is a percentage that then is easily to understand, because it's not the same as every month or every year.
Right. So, Qatar, to answer your first question, basically GDP of Qatar, it is the country with one of the highest GDP per capita. It has roughly 180 billion US dollars of GDP, but this information is completely irrelevant for this case, and all other information that you requested is also completely irrelevant for this case, just to make the discussion, the long story short. All right, so we will move on to the next questions which were raised in the chat. So I see, Siddharth, start with the population of the country as an assumption. Okay, sounds good. Then Isabel Tomova, clarifying questions. Are we calculating the revenues in terms of volume or value? Very, very good question, Isabel. I was actually waiting for this question. Yes, the revenues needs to be calculated in US dollars. Then next question, Mustafa Shahin, sorry if I'm pronouncing your names incorrectly. Total volume sold in the last quarter plus average market growth rate multiplies by price. Very good concept, but I don't have this data for you. You need to guesstimate it. Also, I think we should consider the amount of people from other countries that iPhone prices are higher than in their home countries. Yes, it's also a good point, but it's a minor point in that one. Then Siddharth, are there any seasonality trends observed in Q4 typically? Good one. This is really, really good one, Siddharth, because Q4 is the last quarter of the year, And with Christmas, with Black Friday, with all these promotions that are happening, Q4 corresponds for amounts for 40% of the annual sales. So yes, it's the highest season ever, actually. It's the best quarter of the year. Then Alp Sinar, question 1. Are we going to only account for the newest model only, or for all models of iPhones? That's a good one. Yeah, we take the last 3 iPhones because they are typically sold on the market. Then Siddharth, do we know the market share that Apple has captured previously? Yes, we do know. It's about 40% for private people. Are we accounting only new or refurbished sales of iPhones? Only new sales. All right. Yeah, it's a very good one. So I just want to get back to, I think, Siddharth and Alp, I already answered your questions, right? Yeah. Then the newest question from Maximilian Klapp. Can we assume a percentage of people renovating their current devices? No, let's rather talk about the replacement rate, which usually happens every 3 years. Okay, so let's move back. Puneet, yeah, could you please repeat one more time your structure, how we are going to solve this case for everyone?
Yeah, sure, Andre. So I would like to divide this in people who would buy it within Qatar and tourists basically who would like to buy it, who are going there. And I would start with the population of Qatar, then people who can afford it. Then out of these people who can afford a phone, who would really buy an iPhone out of this, which you said is quite, like you said, like 40% of the sales are coming. So I would take that as around about 50% of the people who can afford would buy an iPhone. Then you said also about the replacement rate. So when are they replaced? I was assuming that to be 5 years. You just said it's 3 years. And in the end, I would multiply this entire number by the price of the iPhone. And for tourists, I would again start with the population. I did not factor in Black Friday and these sales, so that gives me an added hint. So then I would take people who have lost their phone plus people who are normally coming there to also buy phones, because I've heard actually from my personal acquaintances that they go to Middle East and around those countries to buy electronics because they get a better deal there. So then taking out of these people who have either lost the phone or willing to buy through these deals, and then again factoring in the price and calculating for the tourists. A little bit wishy-washy with, quite frankly, where I'm struggling at this point is how would I account what percent of people from tourists are gonna get in the sales and buy that number. So I'm just taking a very abstract number. So I would assume probably on the lower side, let's say 20% of the people might do that because they either lost or they just got too excited and had to buy a gift for their family, or maybe there was a really good deal of Black Friday that you mentioned they had to buy.
Okay.
But I would still take a conservative figure for people who would go there as travelers and buy there an iPhone. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So Puneet, yeah, very good one. Basically, I think that the structure of Puneet is good to start, but it could be improved, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, what are other factors that you might be thinking about that needs to be included in the structure? Any thoughts about it? You can raise your hand and speak out after I give you the word, or you can simply leave it in your in the comments group. Yeah, so Gibby is writing, because of the World Cup, should we assume higher percentage of the sales rather than just of the last quarter, Black Friday and Christmas? Given this information is already given that it's 40% of the year of the annual sales. Casey, age groups are less relevant. In these terms, income levels are more relevant. Isabel Tomola. Isabel, another great idea. By congratulations, B2B versus B2C. I was waiting for this comment because it's not only about iPhones, which are used for the private reasons, but it's also for the business phones. As an individual, customers versus companies buying iPhones. Right, precisely. Yeah. Alps in R, what percentage of people buying new phones prefer to buy iPhone? Very good. Yeah, that was exactly what I was talking about. That's Apple has 40% market share, basically, in the B2C market, and 50% of the market share in the B2B market. So 50% for individuals and 40% for individuals and 50% for businesses. Average price of an iPhone, right? That's also very good. To make it easier for you, instead of you calculating 3 different models with 3 different prices, we can actually just assume that the average iPhone price across all models, or better to say average weighted price, is about $900 US. All right, I was actually expecting that question from Isabel, and I'm happy that she gave it to you. So now it's pretty straightforward. I would just want to show you how an exemplary solution looks like for that case. Okay, so it's very important to clarify it into 2 types. Basically, what's happening on the demand side of the business and what's happening on the supply side of the business. So as if we are talking about the demand side, we're talking about B2C users and B2B users. So B2C are end consumers, are private persons, and B2B are businesses. So as for B2C users, as Puneet also rightly mentioned, it all starts with assessment of affordability and accessibility of the iPhones. And it's a function where you derive the number of people who are using the smartphones. It could be, for example, derived either from the general population or from the number of households, or in that case, number of visitors, especially number of tourists as a special effect. And Puneet, I really like that you included number of visitors already here. Actually, you can even make it as a separate bucket, because 1.5 million visitors is a very substantial amount. So you can, in fact, put B2C users, tourists, and residents, tourists, and business users to make it even more precise, so to say. Plus, you can also do the customer segmentation per income, like low, medium, high income, because obviously iPhones is something which is affordable only for medium and high income. But luckily, Qatar is one of the richest countries in the world, based on the GDP per capita. So they have like 90% of the population in the middle and rich class, so to say. Then the next factor is number of smartphones per person. than the share of Apple iPhones, etc., and all the other components. Then, as for B2B users, I would suggest let's make it a little bit easier. Let's simply make it as a function of B2C users. So number of business smartphones per person. Let's say, I don't know, average grown up in the age between 20 and 50, let's say, or 25 to 50, has one smartphone for private reasons and 0.5 smartphone for business reasons. Like every second grown up has basically a smartphone for business reasons. And out of this 0.5, another 0.5, another 50% are iPhones, so to say. That will be make it easier of share of Apple iPhones for the business segment. Ladies and gentlemen, are you following me? Just put okay, say yes if you are there with me. Yeah. Okay, I see. Anton?
Andre, could you repeat for the B2B? I'm a little bit, I think maybe I properly didn't understand for the B2B segment how you would structure it.
I would simply relate B2B to the B2C. I would say that people on the one hand have private smartphones, and on the other hand, they might be having also business smartphones. And in order to understand how many of business smartphones they have, we could simply do an assumption and align it with an interviewer that would it be reasonable to assume that typical or average person has one cell phone for private reasons, and every second person has also a business smartphone, because not everyone is having a smartphone for business reasons, but every second person might be having. And this every second person share of Apple iPhones, as I mentioned before, is 50% in the B2B segment. So it's like 0.5 multiplied 0.5 gives you 0.25 actually. All right, and then that's what on the demand side. Yeah, now I can see in the chat that people can follow me. Very good. Mohammed, Rashan, Yasmin, Divi, Evelyn, Miss iPhone. We're doing the case about you. All right, good. And then the next concept is the replacements. The supply side. It's where we're talking about the replacement rate, the market growth rate, the share of the Q4 in the annual sales. It was, I think, Sidit who talked about it. It's very important comment. And then the average price of the iPhone. If I wanted to make it more difficult for you, I would tell you, let's do 3 models. First model takes, I don't know, 800. A second model takes 1,000, and third model takes 1,200. Yeah, but just for simplicity, I would say every model on average costs just 900. All right. So, Puneet, now let's talk about calculations. So here are the numbers. And can you walk me through your calculations now?
Yeah, sure. So basically, right, we have just talking from the perspective of Qatar, we got so the people living inside Qatar, we have 3 million people. Out of that, 70% can afford. So that would be 3 million times 0.7, which would give us 2.1 million. Then we have out of them 40% taking an iPhone actually, So that would be 2.1 million times 0.4, which would give us 84,000. So 840,000, my bad. So 840,000 people here are preferring an iPhone. Then we have 1. Then coming on to the visitors. These visitors are 1.5 million, and 10% of them would like to buy it as a Christmas gift. So 1.5 times 0.1 would give us 150K. So our total market of number of iPhones required would be 840,000 plus 150,000. If I add that, I get 990,000 phones required. And then this is the total market size. On that, we okay, I see. So if I now include B2B in that, we assume that B2B would have 0.5 phones for every one phone a B2C person has. So then basically for B2B, I divide 990,000 by 2, and that gives me 4.
Guys, please also write in the comments what are your what are your how do you call it? What are your results? I just want to see who comes first to the calculation.
Yeah, so for B2B, I have 990,000 by 2, which gives me 495,000. So I add 990 with 495, which gives me 18, 10, 1085,000, or basically.
By the way, while Puneet is calculating, there was a question from Jesse. Will the recording be shared post-webinar? You can, guys, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there you will see all the webinars that has been recorded, plus way more additional information. So just use the link or find us through Consulting Masters on YouTube as a channel. Subscribe, hit the button to get notifications for all future events, and stay updated. There is in fact actually a huge database that we have created over the last 2 years with all those webinars, so there is a lot of content. And feel free also to, if you are watching this video online through YouTube or other channel, don't forget to put a like, hit the notification button, or leave your comment if you have any questions. We will be happy to answer that. Okay, so Puneet, back to business.
So basically for people inside Qatar, we calculated there are 990,000 iPhones sold every year. And then factoring in the B2B side, we have 40% of this, 50% of people have basically the phones, because 0.5 times are the average weighted of B2B. And then out of those people, 50% actually have iPhones. So then again, 490 by 2, that would give us 295, 295,000. So I add 990 plus 295, which gives me 10, 12, 1.2 million, 1.285 million. So this is the total market of iPhones for, basically. And now we have replacement rate every 3 years. So I divided by 3. So 1.285 by 3 million, which give me how many phones would be sold in that particular year. Now that gives me 4 is 12, 2 is 6, 2, 5, 8. Yeah, about 428,000 that year. And we have a market growth of 12%. So basically multiplying 428,000 into 1.12. So 10% of 428 would be 44,800. 1% would be 4,280, and 2% would be basically into 2. So if I add all of them, that becomes 16, 12, 13, 8, 3, 11, 5. So that becomes 513.6,000. So we can just estimate it to be around 514,000 just for the sake of convenience. So 514,000 would be there considering the market growth. Q4 contributes 40% of the annual sales on average. Okay. And now finally the average price is 900. So I multiply 514,000 into 900, which is 5140 minus 10% into 5. So that would be 40 times 10 minus 515, which gives me
We didn't hear you, Andre.
Yeah, thanks, Anton. Which numbers or which figures are you coming with? Please write down in the chat also your answers.
So I came up with 4.626 million a year. Or not a year, I mean in this World Cup.
In the quarter, you mean?
Yes, in Q4, I mean, right.
Mm-hmm. Any other options? Guys, have you solved the case, or have you simply followed how Punit was solving the case? Any other figures? Okay, Casey got 166.5 thousand US dollars. Okay. Any other variants? 53.46. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. So let's move to the final stage. So Punit, you got about 4 million as your revenues. Yeah, what do you think about this number?
4.6 million actually, Andre. If I think about it, I think I have, if I do a sanity check on this, it looks more like 46 million would be something much better. 4.6 million to me seems very low. So just asking myself where I did probably, I think I have miscalculated some zeros somewhere in my calculation.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, I think this number is too conservative. Perhaps I can say minimum it should be about 10 million. So 40 million, 50 million, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely right with that. I would say that you have a good business judgment in that sense, because the actual figure is about 80 million US dollars, which have been done in the Q4 2021, so before the World Cup. And now with all these visitors, you might be expecting something about 100 or 120 approximately. That will be the actual number. Yeah, so yes, some of the calculations were not correct. Okay, but we will not go too much deep into details in sake of time, because we're learning today. So yeah, you can take a moment and come up with a final result to your client. So I'm your client, I'm Tim, engagement manager at McKinsey. What would you say?
So I would like to say that if it's so I'm assuming my number is here about 46 million.
Puneet, let's just make it a real life simulation.
Okay.
I'm your interviewer. I decide whether you get the job or not. So
okay,
take up 30 seconds of time, structure your thoughts, and come up with a real recommendation.
Okay. Yeah. Just give me a moment then.
Sure. Guys, if you also want to share your recommendation with me, feel free to raise your hands so that you can speak out loud after Puneet is done. Okay? And if you are watching this video on our YouTube channel, don't forget to leave your comment. What do you think about the case? How would you solve it? Ask us a question, give us a hint, a like, and put a notification button and get on the call with Anton if you have any further questions. So Puneet, I'm listening.
Yeah, so based on my calculation, I think the market looks good. We even though came up with a conservative number, but I think market has a lot of potential. So clients should definitely go there with aggressive efforts. I think in order to increase our volume, we should particularly focus on offers for tourists, something which we can offer off. If we can make bundles, not just with iPhone, but utilizing the for hearing, what's that called? What you are using,
AirDrops?
so airdrops, yeah. So basically bundling airdrops with iPhone and seeing if we can increase sales on that. The average ticket price for bundling products. Then some Black Friday deals, like if you buy within 1 day or 2 day of the deal, you get 10% or 20% off. Then I think it also makes sense to make partnerships with the big network providers there, so that people who are going there don't have to pay upfront, but can sort of pay, let's say, in a year or something like that, where they can take this as a subscription of 12 installments. So I think that would really improve the sales. I think these two things should be done to further enhance our volume sold.
All right, good. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone would like to try and speak out their recommendation to the interviewer? Just raise your hand. All right. Would you like to know, by the way, how would a real consultant give a recommendation to that case? Is that something interesting for you? Just say yes or put a like or the plus in the comment field. Otherwise, I will skip this part. Yeah, sure. All right, guys, if I were in your shoes, I would take the 30 seconds. First of all, I would tell the interviewer, if you, Puneet, is my interviewer, I would say, Puneet, thanks for your question. Can I maybe have a moment of time to structure my thoughts? So then I will take some time. And in my recommendation, I will briefly review the objectives of this case, number one. Secondly, I will directly go to the recommendation and I will back it up by some facts that we found out from the analysis. If there are any risks, I will notify the interviewer about them, and I will conclude with the next steps and with the phrase, do you have any questions? So that could be in the reality something like, oh, Puneet, so thank you very much for this very interesting case. So our objective was to find out what is the market size of the Apple iPhone sales in the Q4 2022. And we came to the result about 18 million US dollars for the last year. Which I think that for this Q4, given the fact that World Championship will be happening and 1.5 million tourists are expected, we will expect to have at least 100 to maybe even 120 million US dollars of revenues in Q4 this year. What I would also recommend to do is to introduce A, B, and C, something like bundling and whatsoever. There are some potential risks associated with the reputation of Apple as one of the sponsors of Qatar championship, because it has also some negative connotation worldwide, especially in Europe and North America, which are our key markets. So we need to be accurate and mitigate those risks. And then what I would potentially do as next steps is 1, 2, and 3, you name it specifically. And then at the end of the recommendation, I tell you, do you have any questions, Puneet? And I stay calm as a candidate. That's how I, as a consultant, would do the recommendation. All right.
Thanks a lot. I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. How did you like it? How does it make sense?
So I would say that the structure of first saying, I mean, top down, just telling your answer first and then backing up by points is much better. And I think if we take some time to structure our thoughts, we are able to say just the important things and not just beat around the bush. So I think if we are already thinking for it about some 30 seconds or so, write the main things down, then we just cut through the crap and say what exactly should be said.
Okay, now let's basically review this session. So Puneet, how do you, if you do a self-assessment, like how did you go about that case? Can you make a self-assessment? First of all, what has worked perfectly well in that case for you, from your point of view?
I think that for B2C, which is basically within Qatar people, I could really see how that works, because it's more tangible of how normal market works. I was little bit unsure as to how should I factor in the tourist and what percentage of that would be coming in. But I already knew that it would be a conservative percentage. Tourists are not very big part of the market. But I knew that I need to take them as two different things. One target in Qatar, one outside. So I think in Qatar, I was quite clear how to go about it. In the tourist, I was little bit like wishy-washy. Okay, I think it might work, but not really sure if I can back that up with a good reason. So I just said a conservative number because I think less, but I don't think if that's good enough to give to reason. Then I did not think about B2B actually. I think that maybe what I could have done was just, instead of thinking B2B, I think I would have just done, okay, average person, considering there are also some people having work phones, let's take it 1.5 and just factor it within the same market as only. So that's how I think. Mm, so I think the structure was fine. I think while calculating, and I think I do this mistake quite often, I always, lose out some zeros or sometimes add extra zeros. I think that's something that I go with. So I think that happened here as well. Um, in terms of recommendation, I was a little bit uncertain how to give it, and I think you gave that to me quite well. And also, what was going through inside me is, when you're really put in that table where you need to do that first reason and then side by side talk what you're calculating, a lot of times you get very anxious about it. It's very something, I'm not sure if it's just uh, my personal thing happening inside me, or if that's just normal with everyone. But I was certainly feeling the little bit of putting, or in the limelight. So I think that's something which I was going through. um in the end, I think the number, of course, was wrong, and I did understand that, because it seemed too low to me. For recommendation, I would say I did very average job. I just gave 3 points, which I thought would increase the volume. But I very, like, after giving my first point, I said that I'm saying these points as to increase the volume of sales. So I think it should have been in the starting before I started saying all this. And also something which I was wondering in my head was, it was a market sizing to size the market of phones. And then I was thinking, what recommendation should I give for the size of the market? That's the size of the market. So that's one thing which I was facing. So I just stuck with, how can I increase the volume? That's only something that came to my mind. Yeah, so I think that's what my reflection on the case is. I think with numbers plus business logic, when both of that are combined, it really makes you think about whether I'm doing wrong, should I calculate it again, and things like that. Yeah, so I think that's like my takeaway. Yeah, curious to take your feedback.
Okay, all right. So basically, guys, would you like to know what are the feedback criteria? How do interviewers assess the candidates? Like, which set of parameters I, as an interviewer at RB or at McKinsey in this case, or at any other leading consulting firm, strategy and BCG whatsoever, would use to basically to assess the performance of Puneet, or to make him or her comparable to any other candidate. Okay, yeah, I see yes from Casey, and Puneet is also probably wondering to get some feedback. So yeah, it's a standard grid actually. And this is just a small exhibit. It's not, there is even more to that. I mean, I can talk about it in a separate webinar or in a private session with you, or you can find out more about it if you purchase one of our video courses where I give the detailed explanation. But like, every candidate is being assessed by certain criteria. In that specific case, it will be assessing analytical skills of the candidate, critical thinking and problem solving, creative thinking and diversity of thought, and ability to learn in the case. Every component has also subset of criteria. I will not go too much deep into that detail through that. I mean, in our video course, we dedicate a special lesson for you to help you to better understand what is the logic of the interviewer. Like, if just put yourself in the shoes of the others, like someone who is sitting in front of you or on the other side of the screen, what he or she is thinking about you, which logic he uses to assess you. And if you, once you understand it, it will really help you to perform way better in the interview, because it will make this difference whether you get the rejection or whether you get a chance for the next interview or even the job offer. It's really one of the critical aspects for you just to understand what is happening on in the head of the others. And using these aspects, I would just briefly say that, Punit, yeah, I do respect, and I think it was a solid performance, especially if you are just the beginner and in front of the public for the webinar, and we haven't spoken before, we haven't met, we haven't practiced. But if it was a real McKinsey interview, yeah, sorry, but 10 other people or 9 other candidates with whom I, as an interviewer, would have spoken at that time, they would probably have shown the better performance. So therefore, you would go home with a rejection. If you want to improve, get in touch with Anton and we can see what we can do together with you. But you are already on the good track, and I want to really encourage you to carry on. There is a lot to do to really just imagine, like, out of 200,000 people that applied for McKinsey every year, only 2,000 roughly, or just 1%, get an offer. So it's really tough to become that top 1%. And the mission of our company and of our coaching is actually to help you to become, to help you and to help all others to become this top 1%. So therefore, we teach a lot, and I simply want to pass the word to Anton to tell more about the coaching side.
Yes, guys. So as you may understand, this whole coaching process is not only about case solving part. We also help you to understand all the stages of this process and be like on the highest level of your performance and your self-preparation, starting with application strategy, polishing your CV, your cover letters, all your documents will be polished. We will also put our attention on your networking, how to approach people, what to do, how to find the right people to get in touch with. So all these interview preparations, as you may notice, is also like a case part interview. This will be polished as well. Fit part, behavioral part, everything will be trained during the sessions, during private sessions with Andre. At the end, the perfect result is basically your maximum of your self-confidence at the interview. And at the end, the perfect outcome would be something like our previous mentee we told you about had. Like, you will be the one who will be deciding, choosing between Deloitte and BCG, perhaps, you know. But it's had a lot of work to be done, for sure. So don't hesitate, guys. Text me to my LinkedIn, write our email. And we also have some video course, full preparation online course. You can study from there as well. You can see the list of videos, which it contains. Some of them are really short, some of them are longer, but it will definitely improve you from that point that you are now. And of course, to get a feedback, whether you did right or wrong, with your self preparation, it's better to get into private sessions with Andre to have a great feedback, right? Yeah, we also recommend you basically to combine our full preparation online course with Andre's private sessions. That'll be the ideal way of preparing yourself for those stages of hell in the interviews in these top consulting companies. Yeah. And also, yeah, please, guys, don't forget to send your CVs to customer.service@consulting-masters.com. We will review it and you will get our feedback on that. Sure. And don't hesitate to subscribe and to get sessions with Andre. You may need to get an offer. I told you already about Andre. He has like more than 3,000 hours of coaching sessions, which basically every session is roughly 1 hour, so basically 3,000 sessions already passed. So yeah, hope to see you soon, guys. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. We have YouTube channel, we have LinkedIn, we just recently launched our TikTok. Could be quite interesting. Yeah, don't hesitate to join.
All right,
and click on the subscribe button.
We are also going to have the next webinar. You have a chance. You can actually help us to determine which topic you would be interested in, and yeah, just follow us on the social media, and tomorrow we will have the poll on LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok, or other things where you can basically determine whether you would like to go deeper into application process, networking, interview preparation, the life and work in consulting, or any other specific topics. So feel free to vote over there. And you can now also register through our website, consulting-masters.com, to the next webinar, which will be next week, again in the evening. And now I'm also more than happy to answer all of your questions if you have any. So either put here in the chat them, or you can raise your hands and we can even speak out loud. So yeah, let's do the wrap up over here. And I would be also very interested to get your insights. What have you learned through the session today? I tried to do it more in the coaching style today, as much as I could with this broad audience. So yeah, do you have any questions? I think Gibi wanted to ask us a question at the end of the session. Is Gibi still here and willing to do so?
While Gibi is still deciding, we have a question from Aditya.
Yeah.
Hi, Andre. Hi, Anton. Thank you so much for the session.
Hi, Aditya. Could you please maybe just turn on your camera and briefly introduce yourself?
Actually, I'm having trouble with this laptop for some time, I have to fix it. It's with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
Maybe like other time, the next webinar.
So just tell me your background and what's your question?
Actually, I come from IT background, and right now I'm working as a consultant, associate consultant in Bain & Company. But I want to move to some other places, so I have decided to go for a master's in UK, and that school is not a target school for consulting. So will your program help me with this also? I'm doing a master's from a non-target school.
Which one?
Most probably it would be Manchester or Queen's Mary, or Sheffield or Birmingham.
Okay, and where do you want to get?
Again, to Bain or BCG or McKinsey. Yeah. So MVP, yes.
In London or in other offices?
In Middle East, most probably in Dubai. Dubai.
Okay, I cannot promise about Dubai because Dubai is currently more restrictive on hiring, but other offices in the Middle East, especially the one we were talking about today, the Qatar office, and as well as the offices in the KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, are extremely hiring at the moment. So yes, in the nutshell, we can help you. As we have already helped 595 people, I'm pretty confident that we can.
Yeah, I feel confident after seeing this, like today's case thing. It was quite I'm like interesting.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to send your CV to Anton and speak and discuss all the details together with him.
Okay, so like on the non-target school doesn't matter, right? Yeah, like my master's from a non-target school, it doesn't matter at all.
Look, I didn't say it will be easy. I only said that it's possible and that we can work on that. Of course, it's also like a handicap, but since you, as far as I already understood, that you are already working with Bain in India, so in your case, it's just moving from one office to the other, and you already have that relevant experience. It's of course an advantage, but what you would probably require quite a lot is networking and getting recommendations, and that's also something that we can help you with. Plus, of course, whenever you get those chances, you need to use them.
Okay. And like, what about the like preparation for exams for McKinsey or BCG, like the BCG exam we have,
The tests, you mean?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we also do have the tutorials for them.
Okay.
That we can help you with.
Okay.
Imbalance one or whatsoever. I mean, just get in touch, send your CV to customer service, get in touch with Anton, and you can take it from there.
Okay, thank you so much, Andre.
By the way, how did you like our session? And yeah, what are your insights for yourself? What have you learned?
Well, like I have done like around like like most of 20 to 25 cases before getting into Bain and Company, and your technique was very like it was not something like very congested. It was very simple and elegant to follow. I could really visualize like what we are doing. I think that is the most important part with case studies, right? Because you need to visualize mentally like what you are doing, where are you going, where are you taking the whole case, because we sometimes we feel so much like compelled with the data that we get, facts and all, that we have to follow this way or that way. There is that like we have no direction in our mind, but today I saw like we have a direction. So if Andre is there, we have direction. So
all right. Yeah, thanks, Aditya. Pleasure meeting you, and yeah, hope we can start working together very soon. All right.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Andre.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot. Then the next one is Gibby. Hi.
Yeah. So hello again. Well, it's just a general question. By the end of the day, does it really matter which company we start working for, whether it will be PwC or Roland Berger or McKinsey? So just wanted to know what's the environment and what's the methodology or what's the culture. So it's culture really similar with these companies or not? Because actually, I have a PwC background for 8 years. I was working in the Netherlands, but my direction was audit and assurance and not consulting. Well, I worked just once for consulting project, but it was in Georgia when I was very, very young. So I was just doing very basic stuff. So actually I didn't have to solve the cases. So that's why I was thinking how important is whether we work for McKinsey or we work for Roland Berger. So do we have to just worry about that much, or because I don't really want to go back to PwC. It was really nice, but I would like to try something else.
Well, in my honest opinion, I don't count PwC unless it's strategy and it's something completely different. So I don't count PwC, Deloitte, KPMG or EY as consulting companies, in all honesty. So these are perfect audit firms. They also do advisory, but advisory is just a very, very small and fractional part of the business. So they do these M&A transactions quite a lot. That's what they are focusing, but it's not really strategy. So, I mean, they're not doing the typical job what Roland Berger or McKinsey or BCG consultants are typically doing. So strategy consulting is dominated by 7 companies, mostly. Number 1, McKinsey. Number 2, BCG. Number 3, Bain. Number 4, Roland Berger. Number 5, Oliver Wyman. Number 6, Strategy and number 7, Kearney. The numbers or the priority can vary by the region. So this I just told you for the worldwide, but in Europe, the leaders are completely different than in the US or in the Middle East or in the Southeastern Asia. So there are regional differences, but I would say that these are the top 7 companies, and we are focusing, like most of our candidates, the absolute majority gets into those top 7 companies. We of course also help some people to get into top big 4. I have nothing against about it, or Accenture or other boutique consulting companies, but of course the primary focus, like out of these 595 mentees, 216 or something like this landed an offer with MBB, which is McKinsey, BCG, and Bain, and the rest most probably with the other top 4 firms, so to say.
Okay.
And answering your question, yes, if you now go and start working with one of these top 7 consulting companies, it will change your life, it will change your career, because you will start growing way faster. You can develop yourself even more. You could get exposed to better projects, like something which you could have never imagined about it. Like imagine I was 21 years old intern when I got a chance in my second project to work with ministries and governments to help the country to host its Winter Olympic Games.
And this
like
happening where?
Sorry?
And this was happening where? In Roland Berger?
Yes.
Okay.
I signed an NDA, so I can't talk too much about that specific project.
Yeah, but at least you can name the company, right?
Yes. Yes. So this didn't
Okay.
happen to me when, I don't know, at PwC, Deloitte, or whatsoever. I have nothing against about these companies, but when you are involved in the really top projects, which has a lot of impact, yeah, the chances for having this kind of exposure and experience are higher with these top 7 firms, definitely.
Okay, thank you so
All
much.
right, I hope that I was able to help.
Yeah.
Feel free to not only watch our webinars, or if you do so, if you guys do so, put a like or leave a comment or share our webinars with your friends who are interested in consulting. Yeah, or otherwise just get in touch with our service team. All right, Anton, any other questions or comments? By the way, Giri, while Anton is looking for a question, what are your takeaways? How did you like the webinar, and what have you learned?
Well, it was I really like the way you structured it. To be honest, I would never structure like you did between the demand and supply, and I liked it a lot. It was really takeaway for me. But actually, I would like to see your calculations as well. So because there are so many details, and when you're watching, when you're thinking of it, some might be really confusing. So you always want to see what's the brilliant way of solving. So what's the best calculations? So that's why I was thinking, yeah.
Do you like erotic or do you like porno?
Well, it depends. It depends who are the actors.
I know that YouTube might be banning me for this, but you know, in porno you see everything, like it's all full screen, and in erotic, yeah, there is some sort of a mystery about it. That's why.
Well, my wife is sitting next to me, so she's
look, my wife is sitting also behind me. All right. So if you want basically to really dig deeper into that, yeah, speak with Anton about the next steps. We are happy to provide you with all the overview. But yeah, for the time that we host our webinars, we of course we can only. What we have shown you guys is just a small portion of what we coach and what we teach. There is way more that you need to know about consulting and consulting interviews in order to be in the pole position for your application and your interviews. All right, André.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Andrea, we actually have some questions from audience here. Gassen asks, does starting to work with one of the big four has a negative influence when we want to switch to one of the best 7 consulting firms?
Gassen, thanks for your question. No, it's not negative. I mean, you can start your career with the big four and then switch to the top 7 firms. It's actually what most people do, in fact, but I can also say that you can also start working with the top 7 companies straight after your graduation if you are aiming for consulting. So there is no need for you to wait for so many years to switch. So if I were you, I would go and pull all the forces to get into the leading position straight away.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. I asked because I'm doing a master in informatics, and I don't feel very confident when it comes to, for example, when I saw the case, there is some basics about finance, there is some basic about maybe strategy that I don't have from my studies. And do you think that like in 2 months, 3 months, I can get all what I need to be able to immediately start with like working in strategy? That's why I asked actually.
Your background is less relevant than your ambitions, because the skills you will be developing. I can actually just to cut the long story short, this summer, one of our candidates managed to get an offer from one of the most competitive companies in the most competitive office worldwide. And she was an opera singer before.
Okay. And how long do you estimate that would take me to prepare? Like if I
It's
start
always
today.
individually. There are people who are quick learners. There are people who take longer. I mean, we can tell you about. I can tell you this with confidence. Maybe after 2 or 3 sessions, how long it will take in your case, because then I see the dynamics. How what is your base level when you come for the first session? How do you progress through the second and third session? And then I can, yeah, more or less predict or tell with confidence how long shall it take in your specific case, because you or your time will be different than the time of Givi or any other participants here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And maybe one last question: does the grades really matter in the application? Because first of all, we want to get an interview and not to be rejected like from the beginning with an automatic filter or something.
Yes, the grades do really matter, but there are also some tricks how you can go along the system, so to say. Yeah, I mean, for these tricks, you can purchase the course about our networking skills, or also talk to our experts. Yeah, there are methodologies how to go about it. So it's all manageable. But you need to believe in yourself, and you need to have a God will and not to go that way.
Okay, and does all your services like have fees, or I assume that, but I asked the question.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for details, feel free to speak to our team.
Okay, thank you a lot.
All right, good. Thank you, Gassan. By the way, how did you like our webinar? What are your personal takeaways?
Actually, my personal takeaways are that are like the first time that I'm assisting a live interview, so it's really nice to see how the candidate reacts, and yeah, I like the feedback also of you to the answer of the candidate. So yeah, I don't have any feedback. It's just thank you for the session.
All right, sounds good. Cool. Then thanks a lot. Do we have any questions? Anything else, Anton?
No, just people just very showing their appreciation for this webinar.
Okay. Yeah. Then thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it has been a pleasure from my side. Let's keep in touch. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our social networks. I will be really interested to find out your opinion. What should be the next topic for the webinar on the coming week? What is the most interesting thing for you? I hope that you've learned quite a lot about McKinsey and market sizing today while doing this case. And yeah, feel free to apply to the strategy call with our expert team. And thanks a lot for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like or a comment or share it with your friends. And I'm looking towards to seeing you in future in our next webinars. Thank you very much. Cheers and bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for attending.
Thanks for coming, Yasmin, Givi, Georgie, Evelyn, all of you guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
iPhone. Thank you. All right.